Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to the Gems of War stream. So, today, main goal is, at least by the end of the day, though we're going to be getting a good majority of it done now, is to get Corsair hero class leveled up. Next week is a Guild War week, and with that being said, Corsair is going to be quite useful. That is mainly because on Blue Guild War Day, he will potentially have a +3 green if we go get it to level 70+. He'll have 2 off his trait and then 1 off of his perk. So be able to get that up and be good to go with him. So that's pretty much our game plan for this weekend, is to start putting progress towards that so that we can end up getting him ready for Blue Guild War. Other than that, we also ended up getting the Dragon Kitty. So Dragon Kitty ended up making a return. Not really going to be able to get a lot of copies of it since it's only one little event. But at least for anyone who didn't initially end up getting any copies of it whatsoever, you'll now be able to do so through the pet rescue event. So yeah, make sure to go do that. I believe it's just for today, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, another 15 hours, 48 minutes, so plenty of time, obviously. And go get yourself Dragon Kitty if you haven't already. And I'll probably do it just to get more extra copies of it, in case they ever keep adding it again at some point, just so we can eventually get it maxed, though. It's going to be very, very far from doing so, to say the least. Anyways, so let's go find what trait stone we actually need, because we're probably going to be an explorer for a little while here to go and get ourselves the XP we need for our hero class. Be the easiest way. Maybe throw some PvP in there too. But for now, I just want to go to the lowest trait stone, which appears to be purple, from what I can tell, which I forgot what number it was at, but it was under 450. Actually, it'll probably reach base 450, because I believe that's the only one that's below 450 right now, it looks like. Apparently. Yep, 441. Oh, let's go to Kakarot and grind that out then. And we're not using that. And I need normal difficulty as well, because we were still doing the farming from earlier. I guess I never set off the difficulty because we were doing stuff that wasn't related to the difficulty. So I didn't need to adjust it. They're actually planning on phasing out the difficulty as well. A little difficulty setting that's all the way at the bottom. That's eventually going to be removed from the game. When exactly, we don't know, but it seems like version 4.6. They're going to be removing pretty much every instance of it from the game in order to make like automatic difficulties for some things. Well, still not exactly sure how exactly it's going to pan out, but we'll find out soon. It'll probably be done by the end of this year, actually. Because 4.6, I believe, is 2 patches from now. Next is 4.5, and I believe they're just skipping right to 4.6. And the patch after that's probably coming early next year, and that's probably going to be 5.0. They've already made some mention of 5.0, so it's pretty close. Should be. It's definitely next year, though. I highly doubt they'd be able to get it out by the end of this year, because there's 2 more patches that are likely to happen. 2 to 3. There's the patch that's going to be happening within the next few weeks or so, the 4.5. Then there is possibly another one that will happen in like around November-ish or so. And then for sure before the holidays there'll be one. So in mid-December or so. Yeah, there's a possibility there's only 2. The 4.5 in a couple weeks and the 4.6, which will be right before the end of December, like mid-December. Early to mid-December. It's normally where it falls. Hello, Elite Gaming! Welcome! Welcome, welcome. Hope you've been doing well. Also still using the Joy-Con thing. Hey, it works. It was being really finicky this morning, though. It took like 5-10 minutes just to get connected. That's very convenient. Hello, Lori! Welcome! What do we take here? Let's go for our explosion immediately. It should be close to 61. Yeah, we gain about 3 levels every hour or so. Is generally how it goes. Hello, Fred! Hello, Zeddicus! Welcome, welcome. Glad you could join us this lovely Friday. I mean, Saturday? Wrong day. Actually, it's not that lovely. It is actually somewhat gloomy outside. It's been a little gloomy lately, but that's just because it's been hurricane season, so. A lot of rain coming by. Luckily, no actual hurricanes, though. So far, September has been the bad month for it the last 2 years, so. We're not through to September yet, but after we get past September, it's pretty much clear. We'll see what happens. Hello, Steve. Welcome. I'm not wielding the Dragon Kitty, but I just realized something funny about this. I'm not sure if the other pets also have that issue. When we're submerged, the cat is actually above the submerge effect. We can get submerged again so I could show it. That's funny. I didn't even realize that till just now when I was looking at the cat, mentioning the Dragon Kitty. If you have submerged, the visual for the pet is actually over top of it, or at least for this specific pet. Not sure if all the pets are like that. Hello, Tim Bruce. Welcome. Let's see. You want to go level 500 on Hall of Guardians on Switch, stuck at 420, using Mang and Prayer. Any suggestions? Let's see. It's a brown yellow faction, so you could probably use Cockatrice, Sylvania Mora, and one other option behind your Mang. But yeah, Cockatrice is for the purpose of mana draining and entangle. Sylvania Mora fully traded will perpetually entangle. And that's like the main two mechanics that you'd really need. And the other one you just use as some kind of utility. You could even use a Skull Spam Troop if you wanted to. Like a brown-purple Skull Spam or something. But you want to mainly just make sure you have disables, like Cockatrice in second slot and whatever else you do as follow-up. Also, it automatically has a +1, so you don't even need to set your banner to it. It'll be able to 2-turn even if you don't set your banner. But yeah, something like Mang and a Cockatrice and the two others is the main premise you'd most likely want to run for it. Might take a couple tries still, though. Also, it is not a gnome event. I know some people somewhat still think it is because of the flash offer thingy and because we literally just got a gnome. But it's not actually a gnome event right now. Do be mindful of that. While we are doing something that's somewhat gnome event related, which is, you know, grinding hero class, it's not actually a gnome event right now. That's not until September 13th, the next one. Speaking of Hall of Guardians, how to do it at 500 Pure Faction? Double Silent Sentinel, double Gargoyle. It's going to be hard to do without potions. You need like level 200 Delve or potions, or potions. What's your strategy for it? You kill the gargoyle as quickly as possible with your gargoyles. Is the most important thing. Every single cast should be on their gargoyles. Or it's gargoyles on first battle. It's gargoyle on final battle. But every single hit should be on their gargoyle, because that's the only real big threat. After you kill the gargoyle, you basically win. All you have to do is just dodge skulls. Because they don't have anything other than skull damage after you kill gargoyle. The only problem is the gargoyle can almost one-shot you or two-shot you. So you just rush your gargoyles at their gargoyle, and then you pretty much win from there. Once you get it killed in the first and final battle. Banner. +1 brown, +1 red. Oh, never mind, it doesn't use purple. +2 brown, +1 red, or +2 red, +1 brown. Whichever way you want to play it, they're both the same thing. But yeah, the -1 purple that has +2, +1 into brown, red. There's two different banners that you could use for it. Both will do the same. How many gems does the event take to get to 500? I believe it's around 2,000, though I'm not sure on the exact number. It is somewhere around 2,000, though do keep in mind you do get a couple hundred back normally from leaderboard. So it is technically less than that, even though you initially have to put out around 2,000. And you will get more of a return doing on a Tuesday event compared to a Friday weekend-long event, because the Tuesday events are only for 1 day, and most people don't spend as much gems on it, whereas the weekend-long one is 3 days, so people have a lot more time to use their gems, spend gems on it, and, you know, just do it in general. I feel like a lot of people this Monday, or this Tuesday, are going to go for it, though. Only, like, the full-blown completionist people will, though. Mainly because it'll be a waste otherwise. But there are going to be people that are going to try doing the event just to pick up the pet, just to get a single star on a kingdom. It's not worth it. Like, the reward that you get in return is not worth the amount of gems you sink. But for people that have more gems than they know what to do with, it's a okay investment for the gems. So you're at least getting something back for them, rather than just wasting them. And it is for tribute reward as well. I mean, tribute chance, which is better than tribute reward. Plus another maxed pet. And another faction completed. The only problem is, if we do every single room to full completion, it's going to take like 12 hours on next Tuesday. I'm not sure if I'm going to be skipping them or not, but we're initially going to start doing all of them and see how it goes. Oh yeah, you shouldn't mirror match it. More often than not in Delves, you tend to double up or triple up on whatever the best troops are. And the best troops for Hall of Guardians are generally the Gargoyle, especially the Gargoyle, and the Silent Sentinel. You need at least one Silent... The reason you run two Silent Sentinels instead of one, even though triple Gargoyle would theoretically be better, it's a lot safer because you want to have at least one Silent Sentinel for the final battle. So in case you accidentally lose one up into that battle, it's just a backup one. And two Gargoyles is still enough damage. Yeah, either Silent Sentinel, triple Gargoyle, or double Silent Sentinel, double Gargoyle. You normally do two of each just in case one dies of the Silent Sentinel. You never try to do 500 on event because it's 20 to 500, and you don't have that many gems to blow. Yeah, it takes a lot of gems. It definitely does. I forget the exact amount, but yeah, it is around 2,000 or so. Not counting the gems you get back, because there's no way to know exactly how many you'll get back. But normally, if you're going that far, it's around 75 to 250 you end up getting back, which obviously is nowhere near how much you paid, but you're getting a bunch of other stuff from it. Level 500 Pure Faction, a bunch of Chaos Shards, a bunch of Legendary Mythic Ingots, a bunch of other resources like Gold, Glory, Souls, stuff like that. Hello, Starlights! Welcome! And a maxed out faction pet. This is the whole reason why we're doing it to begin with. Our main goal today is to 70 this hero class. A little bit of a grind, but it's going to be worth it for Blue Guild War. We'll be able to start utilizing it for. Hello, Starlights! Welcome! Oh, wait. What? Hold up. That's funny. There's two Starlights. Hold up. That threw me off for a second. Of course, they're spelled differently. That really threw me off, because I was like, wait, I already said hi to Starlight. It's a different Starlight. Oh, you're almost level 800. Nice. Oh, speaking about levels. Level 61. 9 levels to go. 7 to 8 of which we'll be doing right now. And then we finish up the rest of the night. And then we can cover the video tomorrow. Going over Corsair. And right before Blue Guild War, too. Which is the biggest purpose that this thing has. Like, almost the entirety of what you use this for is Blue Guild War. Very rarely do you use it for much else. Unless they eventually add better blue rogues. You have problems with level 300 Hall of Guardians, Delve, any team with no mythic? Mang into Skull Spam. You just run Mang, Cockatrice, and 2 other support. You can do a Skull Spam option like Keeper of Souls, Glaceon, or something for one of the other ones. But Mang Cockatrice should be enough to solo the entirety of all the way up to 500 without needing anything else. And Mang you already own most likely, and Cockatrice is a rare. That's really low rarity. Do you know a good daily team for pushing Stone Song? You keep losing troops. Well, it doesn't matter if you lose troops as long as it's not slowing you down too much. It only matters if you don't lose troop on the very final delve. What's the restriction for? Isn't it brown-yellow as well? You run this exact same team that you run for Hall of Guardians then, if that's the case. You could just run main Cockatrice with supports as Titan hero class. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they both have the same restriction. They are both brown-yellow. Hall of Guardians and Stone Airy actually use the exact same teams. The composition of the Delves are slightly different, but they have the same color restriction. So what you use for one, you're likely using for the other. Yeah, Cockatrice is insanely good for its value. It already has a +1, so you don't need to waste your banner for it. You can 2-turn its full mana without needing to go out of your way at all. Just it just automatically has it attached to it. As long as you get one surge out of one of the two, which later in the game you're most likely going to do due to having over 50% surge or even 60% later in the game. And yeah, you just throw that on first slots. That gives it entangled so you don't take skull damage. And then you just keep casting it on things that are about to cast so that you don't take any damage from their abilities. And just disables everything that they have. And you get some brown mana out of it. The only bad thing about it is it can miss and obviously give the enemy brown. But yeah, that's the only real big downside with it. Other than that, it's really, really solid disable. Especially for how low of a rarity it is. I normally run Iron Gut team for both of them, though. I run a Divinia version of an Iron Gut team. But of course, Iron Gut's a mythic. Actually, Iron Gut's almost been out for a year now. It came in, I believe, December of last year. So we've almost had it as a utility option for a whole year now. Getting there. It's been really meta for Delves the entire time as well. Yep, no problem, Alexis. Mang, Great Maul, Sylvania Moore, Keeper. I'd probably replace out Great Maul for Cockatrice, but the rest of that team could work. The problem with Great Maul is it's just too high of a mana liability. I guess you could get away with that if you were doing enchants, but if you don't have any potions, I wouldn't really bother with a Great Maul. It also only ever gets to cast once per battle. And with Mang up front, that's probably going to be enough. It's better to just keep your hero alive than to have a second backup skull option. Because that's one of the reasons Cockatrice are used on those teams too. It does generate brown, assuming it doesn't miss. It doesn't have the best of gem spawns, but it can get pretty high if it does it on something with a high mana cost. I believe it has a 3-to-1, I believe, on how much mana they have. So if they currently have like 12 mana, he creates 6 plus 3 per, or plus 1 per 3. So that would end up being, what, 10 gem spawn then. It definitely adds up. Yeah, Cockatrice actually got buffed like 2 or 3 years ago. It instantly got nerfed because they excessively overbuffed it, but it was still a really massive buff even after it got its slight nerf from its overbuffment that it got. And they never really tweaked it since, so he's been like really, really solid for a while now, despite his low rarity. Oh yeah, I do. Most of the team videos I have on old factions are going to still be relevant. Like, the meta for specific delves has never changed. There's never been like a... Well, I shouldn't say that the meta hasn't changed, but if one team works, it's always going to work for that delve, unless something really gets nerfed from that team specifically. But delves don't really change ever. So if one thing was to have worked like a year ago, it still would work today. It might not be the most optimal thing for the faction today, but it would still work. So yeah, any of the old, older faction videos, like when we do them on release, going over them, would still be relevant, despite the fact that some of them were almost a year ago. Actually, it has been about a year since we've had delves now. Delves ended up coming in, I believe, August of last year. And it is August right now. Yeah, it's been about 1 year of Delves. It's an interesting mechanic. And they're planning on adding some kind of new Delve-like format, too. Or not necessarily a Delve-like format, but they're already planning on the alternative after Delves are completed. And that might even be implemented at sometime early to midway next year, though we have no official date on it. So they have made mention of it. It's probably going to be another sub-area with some kind of new minigame that is not exactly Delves, but possibly similar to it. Or it could be something completely different, we don't really know. I'll find out eventually. Hello, Carlo! Welcome! Okay, can we get a gnome now? Hey, we got a leprechaun though. Not exactly the same. But no, we shouldn't be seeing too many gnomes, since it's not a vault event. Of course, that doesn't mean we won't find gnomes. Haha! It just means we likely won't get vault keys from them, and we're going to be seeing a lot less. But they're still around. And useless drop. Am I farming for trait stones? I'm indirectly farming for trait stones. The main thing I'm doing right now is farming Corsair to level 70. Specifically to about 68 or 69 to stream. And we can gain about 3 levels per minute. I mean, I wish. I wish! We can gain about 3 levels per hour. And, yeah, we should be able to get that done in, technically 3 hours if we keep at a perfect pace. So, I'm pretty sure we're not going to keep at perfect pace. Plus, I might throw some PvP and stuff, which will slow it down. Which is why I might only go to 68 or 69 for now. But if we did just explore the entire time, yes, we would be able to get it done in that time. We'll probably switch into a few other things. Like maybe get in that Dragon Kitty. And hopefully get 2 copies of it. But yeah, indirectly, while it's not really that important, I will be reaching base 450 arcanes this stream. At the end by the end of this stream, we will have over 450 of every arcane in the game. Getting pretty close to base 500 too. If only they would add a trait stone sync already. They made mention of it in the past. When they're actually going to be adding one, we don't know. Maybe version 5.0 will be bringing it in. They really need to add more resource syncs to the game. I guess they're kind of concerned a little bit just because some endgame people have like an absurd amount of some resources. Like souls, trait stones, glory, stuff like that. Most endgame people have more than they know what to do with it. Yeah, casual PvP works pretty well for it. You gain 2 XP per thing. So even if you win at a slower rate than this, which you would slightly, it could potentially be more EXP to actually do casual PvP, because it gives 2 XP per battle instead of 1. The only big issue with that though is it takes a lot longer to win normally, whereas these battles are pretty consistently around 15 to 20 seconds per cycle, and that's including the loading screen, which makes up almost half the time. Because half of this is just menuing. The other half is actually doing the thing. The battle. Actually, that is kind of funny. Never really looked at it like that. But between menuing and loading screens, you're in menus and loading screens for more time than you're even in the battle when you're doing this team. Normally, not always. Like this battle, we're actually going to be in the battle for longer. But assuming we get the quick kill to actually hit, we're in the little in-between screen and loading screen for longer than the battle. Or at least pretty much the same time. That's also why I use a controller for it, because it makes the menuing quicker. Since we don't need to click on the thing, like we don't need to move over to cast, we can just simply go and click the button. And the main reason is it allows to go through this those 3 clicks right there. The confirm of the battle, the confirm team, and an actually battle button. Those 3 clicks ends up saving like about a second every single time or so. And it makes it so it has 100% no misclick. Whereas if you were to do it with mouse, if you click it too quickly, it'll go back to main menu. And sometimes it just won't register your click. Doing it with controller makes it so it always does it. The power of controller. Yeah, controller is really nice for this game. Or a combination of mouse plus controller, or touchscreen plus controller. I didn't bother trying to do that yet on the Switch version, but that would be pretty funny. I can actually do exactly what I'm doing right now on the Switch version if I wanted to. You click the A button to spam through all the menuing, while you use your finger to touch the screen to move all the gems and everything. It would actually be the quickest way to play the game. It'd probably even be quicker than using mouse. Not much quicker, but theoretically it'd be like a second quicker. Because you wouldn't have to worry about the mouse movement. You also don't have to worry about your cursor going to the middle. Because if I accidentally like multi-click A, it'll move my cursor like that, all the way to the middle. Like currently I have it all the way in the top left, but then it moves it right to the middle if I accidentally multi-click it. Whereas you wouldn't have to worry about that if you're using a finger on touchscreen. Yeah, Joy-Cons, I don't know, these things are such a weird controller, the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, but they work so perfectly as a one-handed controller. They have all the buttons you need, they have the pause thing on it, they have like a little scanner thing, they have the standard stick, they have the home button, they have the 2 little side things, they have these little side ones, they have the scan bar in case you're using any game that's applicable to that. Such a weird, interesting controller. But the main thing that's good about it is it's one-handed. Which is very beneficial for what we're trying to do. Let's take that for now. And I'll scrap a split. But ever since I started using a Joy-Con for this, I don't even use like GameCube controller anymore. I still use GameCube controllers for stuff, but for Gems of War, I actually just use Joy-Cons now, just because it fits in one hand very nicely, and it just works. It also doesn't make really loud clicky noise like these other ones. That is extremely loud. I'll do grab here. Let's go for explode. Go right into our damage. Hello, Nick the Geek. Welcome. Or Nick the Greek, I mean. Oh yes, the 90s. The 90s were wonderful. How rare are Imps actually? Since you unboxed 1 out of 3 gem keys, and you got a vault. Wait, what? You out of 3 gem keys, you got a vault. I'm not sure what you mean. Hold up. You unboxed 1 of 3 gem keys out of a vault. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Hello, Oliver! Welcome. Because I'm not sure what you're referring to as imps. Unless you're talking about the seasonal imps. But seasonal imps aren't in vault keys. Oh, you mean gnomes, then. The gnomes are relatively low drop rate. However, there's like 6 of them. So, I forget what their exact percent is. But the chance that you're specifically getting one of the common ones is probably around a 1 in 5. Which one specifically is pretty random. I believe they all run on the same drop table, and it just picks one randomly. I believe it's around 1 in 5. They're useless beyond the first drop, though, with how vault keys are currently set up. That's why we're saving all of our vault keys, because they're probably going to be buffing it to be able to get multiple copies of them in the near future. It's probably being addressed in version 4.6. Not this next version, but the following version. Okay, grab that. Grab a thingy. Oh, also, I got something funny from Amazon the other day. Or not really funny, but it finally got here. Humidifier. Used to have one when I was younger, and since I've still kind of had that cough slightly, though most of the symptoms of it have kind of already gone away. But just in case I end up getting a humidifier, just to help out with it. Still haven't hooked it up yet, but it's not going to take that long. It actually just got here earlier. We're actually getting a decently high amount of gnomes, given that it's not Vault events. Oh, level as well. 6,000 gold. We're creeping up slowly with gold. Got 2,500, now 6,000. Now give us 50,000. It is a drop of his. It's a relatively rare drop. And it's not even that good of a drop, but hey, 50,000 gold, 50,000 gold. Yeah, gnomes can drop 1 gem key or 4 gem keys, the normal gnomes. And that includes the ones that are specifically within the vault keys themselves. It is theoretically possible to actually get 32 gem keys from a vault key. Because each of the single gnomes can drop 3 or 4 gem keys, I mean. And the Cedric can drop 20. But as far as Autumn Imp chance, Autumn Imp is around, it's pretty rare actually. And like, it's not excessively rare. It's about the same as any other legend. It might even be weighted a little bit higher, the chance to get it. But it's pretty easy to get the imps, if that's what you're referring to, the seasonal imps. Right now, it's currently Autumn Imp, of course, until October, in which it will switch over to Spooky Imp for October and November. And then December and January is Winter Imp. And just keep cycling around. Then Imp of Love, then Spring Imp, then Summer Imp, then back to Autumn Imp, and its cycle continues with those 6. They're pretty trivial troops at the moment, though. So what's your new Blue Guild War team? I honestly do not know. I haven't had a chance to test it. Once I get this to level 70, we're probably going to mess with trying to test teams. We're going to be covering a video on it tomorrow. As far as specific teams, I don't actually know currently right now, though. I need to test it specifically with the full bonus and see how it works. So one of the reasons why I didn't actually cover a video for this hero class yet, because we actually have never had a single instance of +3 ever in this game, off of 1 single troop. So I did want to test it some before I did any kind of video on it. And I did want to actually get it because it's pretty much the biggest gimmick of this hero class, is it's +3 to blue. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I'll be running. I feel like it's going to be Dawnbringer based. Like Azura, Dawnbringer, stuff like that. We're obviously going to need a Blue Storm. Could end up going down the Jar of Eyes route if we end up doing that then. Oh, we're getting a really substantial amount of gnomes for not being in a Vault event. I highly doubt we're going to get any Vault keys this weekend, though. The chance is excessively low when it's not a Vault event. We could farm for like 5 to 10 hours and probably still not get a Vault key during a non-Vault event. Even during a Vault event, that could happen. But especially when it's not a Vault event. Oh, don't revive. You're delaying the inevitable. You're looking for speedy teams for Delves on Switch, and currently using Mountain Crusher and 3 Gargoyles, and it's pretty fast. But not all Delves allow Gargoyles. Any suggestions? Trying to think of a Switch version that's available for it. There's alternatives on the PC, mobile, and all the other versions, but I'm trying to think of what Switch currently has that would be able to use it. Because I don't even think you guys have Egg Thief or stuff yet, either. But yeah, Gargoyle is definitely a decent way to go. Just trying to think of a damage source that works for the other ones, though. What level are you trying to do as well for it? Because if you're doing higher levels, you can just be using Mang's Skull Spam. Every single delve in the game can run Mang Skull Spam, just with support troops on it. For example, All-Seeing Eye is a location where you can't use gargoyles. However, what you can do is you run Mang, Apothecary, and then you just run good browns that happen to also have color overlap with green and blue. Or just any support troops that can end up fitting for the coloration. And just build around that. I said Egg Thief, not Thief. Because Thief Hero class needs Egg Thief to function. A lot of Skeleton Key teams need Egg Thief to function. And if I'm not mistaken, they haven't gotten Egg Thief yet? I'm actually not 100% certain on that. But I'm pretty sure they didn't. Based on the chronological order in which they came out, I believe it's like 2 or 3 weeks before they get Egg Thief. And Leprechaun will be a couple weeks after that. Also, Leprechaun's insanely good. Because Egg Thief, I believe, was added November last year, and Leprechaun late November or early December of last year. But yeah, for most delves, you can get around with building around Mountain Crusher Apothecary, 2 damage sources, Mang Apothecary, 2 supports or damage or skull spams, and Mountain Crusher, double mana generator, and 2 supports. Those 3 combinations can run basically any delve. And what specifically you put is just based on what you have. Oh, you guys do have Egg Thief. Never mind. You don't have Leprechaun yet, though. That you don't. But yeah, you could actually run Key Team then. You have everything for it. Cedric exists, Egg Thief exists, Skeleton Key exists, and Greed exists. So the full Skeleton Key team actually exists then, if that's the case. Hello, Mark the Punk. Welcome. Yeah, I haven't been following the Switch version as much lately. I don't know, I just somewhat started to lose interest in it personally. Just because it's so far behind in updates. If they were to ever update it completely back to where PC Mobile is, or make it cross-platform or do something with it, I'd probably start playing it again. But it's just way too far behind. Feels like I'm playing the game like 1 year ago. Which it almost is. Because if Egg Thief just got released, then that's 9 months ago. Just how far behind it is. Oh, grab that one there. And just kill it out with that. Grab our explosion everywhere. Should almost be gaining our next level as well. And then just 8 more to go. They did say the next update might sync up the versions. I highly doubt that. It probably will initially, however, it probably won't have version 4.6. I really wish it would get up to date. It's going to be like the other consoles where it's going to take like a year to 2 years before it finally gets fixed. It's been out for about 4 months now and it's been behind the entire time. But I believe it took PS4 and Xbox One a little over a year before they finally fixed it. Maybe even a little bit longer than that. Took them a while, I know that. The Mixer scene seems to be picking up. Have you entertained the idea of streaming to Mixer? We could potentially. It would possibly be a good location for doing non-Gems of War related streams. So for example, if we were to ever stream anything that isn't Gems of War, it could be a good location for that. I need to see what their monetization method is and everything. But I could look into it. Hopefully it's better than Twitch. Like, as long as it's better than Twitch, then I'm fine for checking it out. Definitely not a fan of Twitch at all. There's quite literally only two things I ever watched there. Salty, because she doesn't do content anywhere else for whatever reason. And, Games Done Quick. That one speedrunning thing. And that's about it. It's like the only two things I ever watched there. But yeah, the only reason I haven't really, like, moved to a different location... Well, for one, we're always going to be doing YouTube content to some degree. So it kind of just makes sense to also have our main stream here as well. But, the other thing is mainly just with the money. Because about half my money, or even actually a little bit more than half of the money that I make, comes from ad revenue. And if I was to go to some place where the amount of money I make would be really inconsistent, that could potentially be really bad. Because I don't normally get too many donations. So, I depend mostly on that ad revenue to keep the channel afloat. And to not really know how well it would be monetized is concerning for switching. The only issue to use key teams in Dove is that you lose Cedric. That can be a bit of a liability. That can be replaced if you end up having a room that has a Cedric room in it. Though, there's only a few Delves that have a lot of Cedric rooms, though. And I don't believe any of them on Switch currently have a high amount of Cedric rooms as a backup. You still do damage, though. It loses a lot of damage potential once the Cedric goes down. But you still have Egg Thief Infinite Wall, if nothing else. Can I talk about the Rowan team briefly? Well, the team I'm currently using? Sure. So this team is a version of a quick kill explore team. There are a lot of different ways that you can do this. The three probably most notorious ones are Sunbird Firebomb, Leprechaun Rowan, and Sunbird or Rowan into a Elspeth. Those are probably the three most noteworthy. There's a few other combos that can kind of do it too. But those are the primary ones. The main ones being Rowan or Sunbird combos with Firebomb, Leprechaun. But the basic premise of these teams is you use a mana-generating troop that has Empowered off a first turn, that then feeds mana to your primary damage source, which is the split damage. The reason specifically for using a split damage troop, which is why Rowan and Sunbird are primarily used, is because it distributes the damage among all enemies. This is good for two things. One is it'll kill all of them, generally, based on how low the stats are within Explore. But the other thing that ends up achieving is if they end up reviving, or if there's a 50% spell reduction troop, you'll be able to concentrate your damage to be able to kill those troops, compared to something like an AoE that might do, let's say, 40 damage to everything. You'll occasionally have those issues where, well, 40 damage won't kill that, because it's 20% and everything, and you'll also have the issue of the damage just not concentrating, whereas this, if the thing is a little bit stronger, it'll take the damage that's not using for the other ones and concentrate all that damage on the one that is stronger. So, that's the basic premise of this team. And you use Hero simply for the whole sake of gaining EXP. You generally don't even use your Hero at all. Whatever weapon you have there, you can just use whatever. And the troop that we have all the way at the bottom, that's mainly to give Sunbird or Rowan half mana start. You can use Forest Guardian or the Mirage Queen. Or in this case, you can only use Mirage Queen if you're using Rowan. But yeah, you just use one of those. This has actually became a lot more accessible too, because Mirage Queen you can get for free, or pretty much for free, from Sunken Fleet. If you throw about 1,000 Chaos Shards at the portal, you're probably going to get a copy of it if you don't already have one. and then you just need to fully trade it. Get the first trait and then use a small orange orb on the second and third trait if you don't have the trait stones for it. And then you get half mana to all elementals, which is mainly for the purpose, of course, of feeding Rowan or Sunbird half mana. So it is a little bit higher, and your Exploder gets to full, and you just repeat the cycle over and over again. And also, if you have any controller whatsoever, it's advised to use controller for this, as it saves about 1 second per battle. Because it saves mostly time on the in-between screen, but also saves time on quick casting the Leprechaun, as well as quick casting your Rowan. Since all you have to do is just click the A button and it using Ketris the Bull. It's not normally used for Guild Wars. You can if you want to. The biggest liability with it is the same liability that guards Avatar, to make sure you don't accidentally lose, because you lose a lot of points if you just completely lose a battle. If you do really bad on a battle, you're going to lose points too, but you don't lose nearly as much if you win the battle, but you win it horribly. It's still better than completely losing a battle. And the problem with Guard's Avatar and Ketris the Bull and other similar things, Rowan and stuff like that in the context of Guild Wars is mainly they are really bad at making a comeback. They're good at winning, but they are horrible at making comebacks due to their stats being reduced, which will lower their overall damage. Hey, 4 gem keys, nice. But if you were to do it, I would probably say do it on Brown Guild War Day or Green Guild War Day, and build either around Apothecary Ketris, if it was Green Guild War Day, or build around Mountain Crusher Ketris, if it is Brown Guild War Day. Oddly enough, despite the fact he gains extra stats on Red Day, I don't think you would ever use him on Red Guild War. But Brown and Green, you'd be able to get away with either one of those two combos. I wouldn't really advise it though, but if you don't have other options, it would be perfectly fine. Just a bit risky due to the more damage he takes, the less damage he does, which makes him hard to make a comeback with if you do start losing. But as long as you never start losing over the course of the battle, he'll be perfectly fine for Guild Wars. Because you can just two-shot the enemy team more often than not. You cast on second slot, you cast on fourth slot, you take a skull, and then you already won. And normally you got that skull between the mana accumulation. And with something like Apothecary, you can just quick feed him to full mana. Do you know what the new achievements are going to be? No. If I had to guess, they're going to be related, obviously, to upgrading the kingdom to some degree. If I had to guess, it's one of them's probably get a level 15 kingdom, and another one might be to finish out all the challenges within the kingdom, all the way up to the new tier 10 that exists. But I'm pretty sure those would be two of the two new achievements, and maybe one other one. But if I had to guess, it would be those two. Get a kingdom to level 15, and complete all the challenges within the kingdom. The level 15 one is going to take probably about a week or so, and maybe a little bit longer than that. And the complete auto challenge one only takes like an hour, not even. Actually, probably closer to 30 minutes. You have to do 70 battles for it, or 67 if you already did the current set of challenges that exist. And they'll take about a half a minute to a minute each. So yeah, I guess about an hour then it could theoretically take, because some of the higher battles have a lot of stats. Like, I mean, over 100, or even over 200, I believe. You start to get pretty high. For the later challenges, like the 8, 9, and 10 challenges. Particularly 9 and 10, of course. You're watching some videos of mine, and say if you Bombot teams, and wasn't sure. Oh, yeah, Bombot used to be really meta for Explore. It can still be used, like with the Elspeth method. Generally, it's not anymore. It's more often than not Sunbird and Rowan, as far as the current game is concerned. And the main reason for that is as time progresses, Sunbird and Rowan, particularly Rowan, becomes increasingly more effective, simply because the more stats that exist of HP and armor, the more damage output they are going to have. So over time, they start to get a lot more value compared to some other troops out there. Because as stats go up, so do their damage. And stats are always constantly increasing. Even next patch, we're getting more stats. Because level 15 kingdom on every single kingdom will be a whole extra stat. Meaning they're adding 34 extra stats next patch. You're not going to be able to get them immediately. It's going to take like a year or so to be able to get them all. But they are adding about 34 extra stats to next patch. 1 per kingdom. Obviously focus the magic ones first. Yep, no problem. If anyone else has any questions, let me know. We'll be here for a while. Still gotta get on that level 70 grind. We're getting there, though. Like I mentioned, we're probably going to about 69 this stream or so. Then finishing out tonight with the Dragon Kitty. We're actually getting decently close to level 1,500 hero. I might grind it out for next Vault event. Next Vault event's on September 13th. And I think we're going to grind that Vault event until we're level 1,500. Because we're close enough that I think we can get it done. Because by that point we'll be around, or maybe not, I don't know. But we'll be around level 1,475, most likely, 1,475. So all we would need to do is about 25 levels. But that does take a while, though. Takes like 2-3 hours per level or so, or something like that. It could be manageable. It really depends what level we are by that point. We kind of determine if we could do it all at that time. Nothing else, at least go for 1,490. Because I did have an arbitrary goal of, by the end of this year, reaching level 1,500. Which at this point, we should be able to easily do. Even if we don't go out of our way for it, I believe we'd still be able to get it done. How long does it generally take to get a class to 700? It generally takes approximately... 1 second. 2,525 EXP is how much it takes. Divide that by 180, though you can get EXP of slightly quicker than that. So that's about average. It takes about 14 hours or so to get a class from level 0 to level 70. So if you split that up to 1 hour per day for 2 weeks, you would get a hero class to level 70. And if you do that for an entire month, you'd get a hero class to 100. Though that does assume you're using 3 wins per minute. That calculation assumes that you can accumulate 3 class EXP per minute. Which means in the context of Explore, you have to win 3 times per minute. And in the context of something like PvP, you'd have to win 1.5 times per minute in order to be able to do that. So 40 seconds per battle for PvP. Or 20 seconds per battle for Explore. Either or will do it. And right now we're at about 15 seconds per battle for Explore. We're actually closer to 4 per minute than we are to 3 per minute. Assuming I'm focusing the entire time. And just doing this. But yeah, this team is really consistent at doing 4 per minute. Especially with controller to cut down the seconds. Oh, now if we get a bad board like this, though. The only problem with this is you don't have Storm unless you set your hero to it. We have no way to set our hero to it. There's only one big liability of this team compared to Sunbird Firebomb. It's one of the reasons why I like Sunbird Firebomb a little bit more sometimes. But this version of it has been growing on me lately, so been using it. What kingdoms are the most important to upgrade? The most important ones to upgrade... What do you mean by upgrade? Their star level? Their kingdom level? Is there one that matches up to Crypt in the Delves? Yes. Crypt is Sword's Edge all the way in top left. Oh, which achievement are you still trying to get? The 2,500 Pure Faction one? The easiest one to Pure Faction, yes, would be Crypt. Assuming you're already at 500, because all you would need to do is just throw a bunch of Lady Maranas at it. Next patch isn't really going to be helping Delves too much, though. You'll be able to get up to 50% extra stats for Delves. However, that 50% extra stats only increases your Horde level. So, for example, if you have a level 100 Horde, it's like a 150 Horde. Or if you have a 200 Horde, it's like a 300 Horde. If you have those upgrades for the Kingdom. But it's not going to be that big of a difference. You're also going to be getting a bigger team bonus, which will help it a little bit as well. But all the changes are only going to make about a 20 to 30 stat difference or so. Which isn't gigantic in the context of Delves. Obviously, that's not a small amount of stats, but in the context of Delves, that's not particularly huge. 20 to 30 stats extra. I'll go for that. You're at 180 for Crypt. Oh, okay, so you still have a ways to go before you need to worry about Pure Faction then. So what achievement are you trying to do then? Or were you referring to? Yeah, level 2, getting a 2,500 faction can be extremely difficult. It's something you generally don't bother doing until late game or even end game. Just because there's no real reason for it other than the achievement. You don't really need renown until at least the later part of late game. I didn't even bother with it really on my Nintendo Switch account. Just because you really don't need it until you're like level 1,200 or so. You would need to have like every legend in the game, a few mythics, and all your kingdoms upgraded. Or, you know, to level 10 when I say upgraded. And ideally 5 stars as well in all of them. Is there a second thing that will make delves easier? There's 2 things coming next patch that will make delves easier. One is a 25 to 50% increase to the amount of treasure hoard. So once you have your kingdom to level 14, I believe it is. It's either 13 or 14. I believe it's 14. You'll end up getting a 50% total bonus towards your delve things. So as I mentioned, for example, if you have level 200 delve, it's basically like a 300 delve as far as how many stats it gives. And so on and so forth. 100 to 150 and, you know, just a 50% increase on the total amount of stats that you get from the treasure hoard. But the other thing that's coming, that's doing it as well, is there's a team bonus that's going to be applied. You can get as high as 4 times by, I believe, level 13 kingdom. And this is a new bonus that's being added to every single kingdom whenever you use 2, 3, or 4 of the kingdom. Obviously, there's already a bonus for that. However, they're going to be adding a second bonus on top of that, which will give even more stats. This is mainly for 2 things. One is to make Pure Faction delves a bit easier, but also to encourage people to actually try using Pure Kingdoms, or for events where that do use Pure Kingdoms, like raids, where you're restricted to have to use Pure Kingdoms. It would make raids a little bit easier as well. Raids and evasions and stuff like that. But its main focus to make it easier was obviously geared towards factions. However, it does go over to other areas like raids pretty well, as far as helping those game modes. Do you think Darkest Dungeon is worth playing in 2019? Yes, Darkest Dungeon is an insanely good game. Though I would get it on sale because it generally does go on sale. You could probably find it for cheaper than its price somewheres. Probably find it for like $5, $10 somewheres. Excluding the DLC, though you might be able to find it somewheres for cheaper with all the DLC. But yeah, it's a really good game. Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming out in the near future though. Haven't been keeping up with news on that. But I'm actually really hyped for that game, even though, I don't know, it seems to be kind of quiet. They did like a teaser thing. Maybe some kind of game conference at some point soon. They might make like an announcement of it. But, yeah, I'm actually really hyped for that game. I really, really hope that's coming in the near future. I believe it's being released initially on beta, which is a little bit unfortunate because I believe the only version, or the only platform it's going to be on is PC. I was hoping to pick it up on Switch. But, yeah, whenever it does release, even if it is only PC, I will be playing it on this channel. Probably quite a bit as well. But I don't believe it's being released until... the beta of it's not even being released, I don't think, until early next year. I don't think an official date has been given it yet for any of that. Oh, you found a key for it for 750, yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. There's probably a lot of keys out there for, like, under 10 bucks. The game normally goes for, like, 15 or 20 or something. It's one of the reasons why I haven't picked it up on Switch. Switch has, like, no discount for it whatsoever. I think it's, like, 20, 30 bucks for the whole thing on Switch. Probably closer to 30. Which is unfortunate. Quite a few things on Switch just always are more money. Which is a bit annoying. Though I do like Switch's most recent thing that kind of expired, though if you got any, it's still relevant. They ended up doing an offer where you could buy, 2 games for only $47.50. like brand new games, like the next Pokemon game, anything else that might be relevant in the near future. Like Fire Emblem only cost me $47.50, stuff like that. Things that would normally cost like 60 bucks or so. Plus tax are only $47.50 with no tax. But as far as like indie games and stuff like that, they tend to like always be expensive. Like when Ori and the Blind Forest goes and releases on Switch, I'm probably still going to be getting it on Switch, just because if I was to play it in any way, that seems like the best way to go for it at this point, since I haven't played it yet. But it's going to be like 20 bucks probably. 15, 20 bucks. Like, it's not going to be discounted barely at all, even though the game's been out for ages. Also, I will be streaming that on this channel, most likely. Might as well. I've heard a lot of good things about the game. I've just never really gotten around to it. And pretty much all of my indie games and alternative titles I've been trying to get just on Switch, because it's more convenient on there than on PC. You don't have the 2 hardest achievements, but you do have the rarest achievement? Nice. Yeah, what is the rarest achievement these days? It was a really weird one. Like, the rarest achievement right now, I believe, is not one I would really expect to be the rarest achievement. Also, I'm really surprised how high level 20 pet is. I think it's like the 3rd rarest or something. Rarest is currently, gain 10,000 total renown in Underworld. Yeah, because that's mostly an end game kind of thing. You don't really deal with Underworld much earlier on in the game, which is why that's probably so low. But, yeah, that makes sense. But 10,000 renown, with how many factions there are in the game, I'm surprised that isn't a little bit higher. Because if you do the Tuesday event for every single delve that currently is in the game, you'd pretty much have 10,000 renown just by doing that across all of them. Because each one would give you about 1,000 or so between the treasure hoard and just getting up to that point. Actually, maybe a little bit less than that. Okay. But once they add a few more, that should be spiking up quite a bit. As more delves come into the game, it should just increase generally. Yeah, level 20 pet. I'm really surprised it's the 2nd rarest. 3rd rarest is Xenos, but he's useless, which is why he's so rare. Just because it's a complete waste. The only reason you ever do that is for the achievement. Reach 5,000 total renown, or Underworld renown, which is the smaller version of that one. So a lot of people have reached 5,000, or not a lot, but you know, that number is even still pretty small. Like 2% has hit 5,000, but then half of that for 10,000. People are like getting some. Like that's basically what doing a Tuesday event on all of them would probably be. Also, because of that one glitch that used to exist, it's kind of funny because reach 5,000 total renown is currently lower or higher than the getting 2,500 renown in a single faction, which is actually one of the hardest things to do in the entire game. But the reason it's so high is there was a glitch when it was first released that made it so you only needed 2,500 total renown rather than 2,500 in a single faction, making it even easier than that 5,000 and 10,000 achievements, which is why it's such a high percent of people completing it. Because there were thousands upon thousands of people that had it glitched who were able to get it without ever actually getting a 2,500 faction. It's not glitched anymore, obviously, but they didn't roll back the glitch. Or they rolled back the glitch, but they didn't, like, undo the achievement on anyone who did get the glitched achievement. Which is why that's so high. If it wasn't for that, that'd probably actually be the rarest achievement in the game. Because 2,500 faction is not easy. Though we do have quite a few of them now. We're going to have more than half pretty soon, after we do a bunch of them next week. Because we're doing at least 2,500 factions next week. It's not really something you worry about until endgame, though. Late game, endgame. Earlier on in the game, you really have no need to ever worry about factions, for the most part. Other than maybe just doing them occasionally for dailies, just to farm a little bit of shards and ingots and stuff. No. A lot of people actually play vaults, surprisingly. Like, a lot of newer players and a lot of, yeah, basically a lot of newer players. Like, they have statistics on it, and you'd actually be surprised how many people actually play treasure hunts. Like, it has a decent player base. They've even mentioned in the past that there are literally people who just play treasure hunts, which is kind of funny. I still find that really hilarious. That there's actually people in this game that pretty much just play the game for treasure hunt. But hey, if you like the minigame, why not? Getting 2 vaults isn't too bad, though. It could take you an hour or a couple hours of attempting. Especially if you're a bit rusty at doing treasure hunt, like I am, because I haven't touched it for like a month or two. But if you put a few hours into it, you can normally get it. Like, if you dedicate a day to it, you could easily get that achievement. And it can normally be done with about an hour or so, as long as you don't get super unlucky. You just have to take gems from the bottom and make sure you take as many 5 times as possible. You'll pretty much be good to go. Also, being in a guild that has level 100 green statue or higher also helps, because that'll start you with 14 turns rather than slightly lower than 14. To get the achievement, do you need to upgrade Crypt all the way to 500? No, not the Horde. In order to get... Which achievement are you referring to? In order to get the achievement for level 2,500 total renown, you have to get the treasure hoard to level 100 at minimum. Though realistically, you're probably going to need to go a little bit higher, but the minimum is get it to level 100. You're going to need to get all the way to level 500 within the delve, as far as progressing that far. You have to do 500 without dying at least once, and you have to do 500 without while using the pure faction at least once. And pure faction are those 4 troops that are from the delve. However, you can multi-repeat them, and the team that you would end up using for that specific delve is 3 Lady Maranas and a there's a bug on my wall, but it's 3 Lady Maranas and a not Lady Marana, yeah, Lady Marana, 3 Lady Marana with a Graveseer. That's what you would use for that once you reach 500. I'm not sure if I should kill that or not. It's big, but it's not being annoying. I don't think that's a mosquito. What even is that, actually? It's not a spider. I don't think. What is that thing? I cannot tell. I need better glasses. This is just confirming I need new glasses now. My glasses are 3 years old. I just haven't really gotten around to getting new ones. Mainly because I don't have insurance, so it's going to be like several $100s. Between the eye testing and actually getting the glasses and the prescription for them. Without any insurance. But these still function decently. I just always have bad vision. Like, glasses won't help it too much. Even when I had like somewhat newer glasses, when I ended up getting my driver permit a while back, like when I was around 16 or 17, I actually almost failed the vision test for it while wearing glasses. What do we take here? We'll grab that. Grab a... Okay, it's just sitting there. That's fine. I'll let the bug live for now. Move that over and then just get a Rowan. I would trap it, but it's not a kind of bug that'd be easily trapped. Because normally I trap it and just move them somewhere else. But some bugs don't like that. They're a lot harder to do that to. Come on, any good loot? No, that's the exact opposite of any good loot. Is Wordbreaker still a relevant troop to Mythic or at Mythic? Wordbreaker's okay. He's used for very few things. He's okay with Wordbreaker plus Ferris Raw. He's also good with Bronze Lock Pistol with Wordbreaker. But other than that, it's not really used for much. It's a rather average troop. The biggest issue he has is a second highest mana cost in the entire game. It's a really high liability. He's also really bad against Emerge. And those two factors combined just make him generally not worth using. You're better off using an Infernus or the new Mythic that's coming next month or something like that, rather than using him. Also, we're getting a new Infernus next month, a blue version of it, which could theoretically be better than the current Infernus. It's actually looking really solid. The biggest issue it has, though, is it doesn't have a Storm attached to it. which is one of the whole premises of an Infernus-like troop, but it doesn't have it. However, it does have more damage, and in some contexts, even more mana accumulation for the same exact mana cost. It basically has a better ability, but worse traits, is essentially what the new Mythic's going to be next month. Also, the hero class of Corsair, the one we're leveling right now, is going to be really good with it as well. It's one of the other reasons why I'm doing this. I'm mostly doing it for Guild Wars. However, indirectly, another reason why we're trying to level up this hero class to 70 is because it's going to be really good with next Mythic. That's coming out in, I believe, 2 weeks from now. Not next week, but the following week. Next week is new faction, and the following week is some kind of event with a new Mythic. I think it's the new hero class, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the one for Suncrest, if I'm not mistaken, the Storm one. It's going to be a really useless hero class, but the Mythic's going to be insanely good. I have no clue what that bug is. Okay, move that over. Grab Wayne. It bothers me when a bug is just like sitting there. It feels like I'm being watched. Though of course I'm quite literally being watched by dozens upon dozens of people. But I don't know, for whatever reason I feel more watched by that insect on the wall that's probably not even looking at me than the 50 plus people that we have watching right now. It is an intimidating miniature insect. But yeah, I have like a weird thing with being watched. Like I'm like really awkward around like a large amount of people. Like obviously it doesn't really mean as much when it's just like a number there, as far as like how big of a crowd that is. But if I'm even around like 3 people, I'll be like weird. Just because it's I don't know, I'm just like so introverted as like no. I want that number as close to 0 as possible. Let's see. Take that one, take that one. But obviously when I'm streaming, it's like I'm pretty much alone. So I don't have like that weirdness to it. Or that awkwardness. If challenge is annulled, do kingdoms drop to 5 stars? No. Well, they're not going to be undone next patch. Whatever you have done is going to already be done. But they're changing up the requirement of how you need to upgrade your challenges. Like the requirement for level 6 kingdom is going to be tweaked next patch. What exactly it is, we don't know, but it's going to be tweaked to represent the new format. Okay, now we just get a Rowan and he'll be dead. Oh, come on, cast. Hello, Aspen! Welcome! Welcome, welcome. Glad you could join us. Let's see, what level are we right now? 64, right? Yeah, 64. We're almost halfway there, kind of. Let's grab all that explosion there. Get a Wayne. It should almost be at that level as well, 65. Yeah, we're probably going to 69 for now and then 70 tonight. Seems like the game plan. Just get it off the dailies tonight. Would end up working perfectly. And then tomorrow we cover blue Guild War teams for Corsair. Now that we finally have it upgraded to 70, so we can actually start using it now. So it took a week to get it to 70. However, it saved us having to spend like 1,500 gems or so. So I think that's worth it. And those gems that we saved we're going to be putting towards Tuesday event next week and Friday event next week. Both of which are level 500 pure faction days. And that's going to burn through like 4,000 gems. Approximately. If anyone else has any other questions, just let me know. We'll make sure to go over them all. Okay, what do we need here? Don't need anything. Just go for the kill. Most of these battles, they should go down to one shot. Very rarely will we need a plan otherwise. Unless they have like some kind of revive thing. Though Sunbird is actually better if they do end up reviving compared to Rowan. And the main reason for that is Rowan has a liability of getting hit the longer the battle goes on. So if it doesn't get a one-shot kill, it tends to be slightly weaker than Sunbird. But more often than not, it won't matter. But there are those occasional instances where it does. Where is Hiking Iron Gut going to come back into rotation? We don't know. Could be next week, could be several weeks from now. It runs around on, Soulforge runs on a rotation where it runs through every single mythic once. And then it goes back and rotates around them again. I'm not sure where the current cycle is off the top of my head. But, he's likely within a few weeks or so. Because I believe he's currently on this cycle. I don't think he occurred yet on this cycle. Yeah, that's definitely a nice troop to have, that's for sure. Hiking Iron Gut's one of the best, if not the best delve option in the entire game. It's an insanely good troop. Pretty much the go-to troop you want to get if you're planning on ever doing delves. You don't really need it much prior to that, but when you're planning on going serious with delves, it can solo almost the entirety of all delves, assuming it can be used for that delve. You just build entire teams around it with Mountain Crusher, Apothecary, stuff like that. And you just use a troop that has Curse, like Mirage Queen or Possessed King, to transform them. So that even things that have Immune to Devour will not have Immune to Devour against it. So you can just devour them. And you auto extra turns regardless, which also is helpful. That reminds me, I need to go pick up something to drink that isn't water. I've still been trying to find like something decent to drink that isn't water. What do you guys normally drink? That's not soda and not water. I've been trying to get more back into teas again lately. I'm trying to find ones that aren't like extremely sugar based, that are actually good. And I don't like always making hot tea. I do make hot tea on occasion. It's just not something I always want to go out of my way for. They're all gray? What is that? Let's take that one down for now. Captain Picard's fave tea. Oh, it's a type of tea. Interesting. Wanted to ask if you have voted on Salty's thread for what type of Gems of War merch. Oh yeah, I voted on the thread. I voted for mugs and I voted for shirts. I would definitely get a Gems of War mug. Actually, I hope they have affiliate links. That's one thing I will shill for. Mainly because it's really relevant to the channel. I hope they have affiliate links if they ever do start selling merch. Because Yeah, I would totally have the affiliate links on every single thing I ever do. I'm definitely getting Gems of War merch if they ever start doing it. Mostly just shirts and mugs, though. Unless they want to send me the other stuff for free. Just to promote it. But that is one thing I would sell out for. Just because I'm pretty sure most people would want it anyways. Yeah, they had a really funny Mana Surge shirt. I'd probably just get something really basic, though. Like a Gems of War logo related shirt with a nice design of like Dragon Soul or whatever ones they end up doing. Like a Troop Arc design with a Gems of War thing on it. Let's see, I'll go throw that one over. Coffee drinks unite. I've never been a big fan of coffee. Even caffeine in general, I don't really tend to drink. Well, luckily tea has such a low caffeine that it's basically non-existent in most teas. At least relative to coffee and energy drinks, it's basically none. Yeah, I hope they would send all the merch for free if I'm going to promote it. That's fine if not, as long as I could get affiliate links and stuff. I will be talking with them on that. I actually still haven't yet. I've been meaning to. I saw the thing on the forum, but then never bothered contacting them. Well, I don't mind sweet teas. I just prefer to try to keep sugar down. And obviously sweeter teas, the main thing making it sweeter is normally just sugar. Yeah, I'm curious what will happen with the Gems of War merch that they end up doing. Like, what they'll actually go for. They've had a lot of funny designs in the past, throughout the years, but they've never actually sold anything related to it. We need a Gems of War color shirt for every single Guild War day. That needs to be a thing. I didn't think of that. That definitely needs to be a thing. We need a Guild War color shirt for every day. With like one troop design on it. And the color of the shirt is just whatever the Guild War color day is. Or, you know, one for each color. Purple shirt, red shirt, blue shirt, brown shirt, red shirt, and green shirt. But I wouldn't be able to wear the green one on stream. Possibly not the yellow one either. But, because green screen. But it would be fun to have. And then they could have a vote for which troop design is on each one. Like which colored related troop related to each one. Because they have a lot of decent troop art in this game. Yeah, they're planning on adding some kind of new system to do the rest of the banners. They are eventually planning on having every single +2, +1, -1 banner in the game added to the game. They did mention they're never going to do +3, -1, -1s though. Or +3, -1s, I mean. And they're never going to do +3 banners. However, we are going to be getting every combination of +2, +1, -1 eventually. What even is this board? I guess we'll grab that. Oh wait, what am I doing? I get to kill him already. Could have done that. Grab the greens immediately. Have enough banner just to cast it out, and dead. Can you stop reviving? He only has 25% chance, and it's getting like almost every battle that we see one. Slowing us down. Waste like 5 to 15 seconds each time that happens. There's like a whole battle worth of time with how quick they go. Hey, level 65. 5 more levels to go. 4 more of which we'll do right now. It would be pretty funny running into someone somewhere who's wearing a Gems of War shirt. I feel like that'd be pretty rare though. Like, I don't even see people wearing Nintendo stuff. And that is like excessively more popular. Like, I haven't seen anyone wearing like any gaming related shirt now that I think about it. Unless there was like a shirt that was referencing something. I don't go out too often. And the places I do go out to, like the mall or something, might not necessarily be the places where gamers might be. But, yeah, now that I think about it, I can't even, like, really think of a gaming-related shirt that I've seen in public. Except for maybe, like, a Minecraft. I don't know if that really counts, though. Minecraft is, like, so gigantic. I believe Minecraft has almost taken over Tetris as the most sold game in all of history. It's getting pretty close. It's on track to be able to do it, obviously. And it will eventually. But, yeah, I believe in, like, another year or two, Tetris will be the most sold game in history. I mean, not Tetris. I mean, Minecraft. Tetris already is, currently. Am I stopping at 70? For now, yes. Because all we need for Guild Wars is 70. Ideally, we get it to 100. However, I'm not in any rush to get to 100. I will be still working this up to 100. However, I'm definitely not getting it done this weekend. That's for sure. To get it to level 100 this weekend, we'd have to grind it for, we'd have to grind for another 18 hours this weekend in order to get it done before, or between now and Guild Wars, we'd have to grind it for that long in order to get it done before Blue Guild War Day. Whereas right now we're just doing 70, which is only going to take another, like, hour and a half or so. Hour and a half, 2 hours. Probably closer to 2 hours. They said they might do +2, +2, -2, though. Oh, I didn't hear that. That could be interesting. There's going to be a lot of combinations if they start adding +2, +2, -2. We're eventually going to have an absurd amount of banners if they start adding that eventually. Yeah, this is almost the only hero class we have left that isn't 70. I only have 3 hero classes that aren't 70. This, which we'll have done by the end of today, and 2 other ones. The Oracle and, what was the other one? There's one other. And War Priest. Those are the only 3 I don't have at 70. And technically 2, because this will be done by the end of today, for sure. Yeah, it's a good idea to get them all to at minimum 40 and ideally 70. And then just get, well, first things first, you get the more important ones to 100. Things like, that you'll actually use, like Titan, like, Thief, like, Plague Lord, stuff like that. Then you work on, getting pretty much everything to 40. Then you work on getting the more relevant ones to 70. And then I guess eventually all of them to 70 and, you know, then maxing them as applicable. There are a few others that you might want to max in between, but then them, though. Like Frost Mage is pretty nice to have maxed. Actually, never mind. Does it even gain a level 100 benefit? That's the biggest issue. Like, there's a lot of good hero classes. Like, let's say Frost Mage on Defend. But if I'm not mistaken, Frost Mage has nothing for level 100. About half the hero classes in the game currently get no benefit from reaching 100. Or such a minuscule benefit that you might as well not even bother. I should probably make up a list of what those are. It's pretty obvious if you just look at the perks, though. But about half the hero classes in the game gain essentially no benefit from being maxed to 100. They gain their last real benefit at 70. And some of them have multiple that are good on 100. Like, for example, Titan, which has giving elementals magic as well as the immunities. Obviously, you can't use both of them simultaneously, but it does have 2 different options that are both good. There's a few other hero classes, too, that have 2 options on 100. Very rare does that happen, though. Do you think Rope Dart needs a nerf? It's pretty strong. I don't think it directly needs a nerf, though. But I guess with Stealthy and everything, it's a bit annoying. If they ever were to nerf it, I think they would only raise its mana cost by like 1 or something. There's a huge difference between a 14 mana cost and a 15 mana cost, because the way you set your banner is completely different, and you would no longer be able to 2-turn the Rope Dart as easily. The only problem with that is if they raise its mana cost by 1, it might be such a large nerf that it will never be used again. That's the only problem with them nerfing stuff like that. Well, and I don't really feel like it needs a nerf for the most part. It's definitely really high up there. It's one of the best weapons in the entire game. But it can be still countered. You either counter it with silence or you counter it with targeting it directly. Silence if it has stealthy, or targeting it directly otherwise. Also, more often than not, the team compositions that you use Rope Dart on do not run tanks because it assumes that the Rope Dart will be Entangle. So if you run a immune to Entangle Skull Spam team, or one that has Cleanse, you can bypass the annoyingness of Rope Dart. It might still be able to clip a kill off of you, but most teams that run Rope Dart do not run any Skull protection. Almost 100% of the time they don't run it, because they assume the Rope Dart is the Skull protection. So if you have a counter to that, you could just Skull Spam them down, hit through the Entangle, and by getting rid of it with Cleanse or just being immune, and just kill them out really quickly. Because the most common team for it's that one Divine team, and not a single one of them has any Skull reduction. And it's normally used with a hero class that also has no Skull reduction. However, the hero classes I was used with sometimes has 30% dodge, which I guess could get it lucky. But it normally doesn't have Skull mitigation to any degree. But yeah, it's pretty high up there. I wouldn't be surprised if they do tweak it eventually. But, I don't know. I don't think it's completely broken at the moment. It's just really, really strong. It's probably like top 5 or top 10 weapons in the game. Actually, probably top 5. Also, I don't think we've been able to get it since the new format. It will be available eventually. I believe it's Pride Lands, if I'm not mistaken. So whenever Pride Lands rolls back around, we'll be able to get it from Soulforge if you don't already own it. Yeah, it's basically the strongest team in the game. The Vinish Bala, Rope Dart, Quillin, Bunny is one of the strongest teams in the entire game, and ends up utilizing that weapon. It does have its downsides, though. But it is pretty much the strongest team in the game, or among one of them. At least from a defend perspective. Because it has infinite damage Skull Loop with extra turn Armor Tier and Tangle. So between that combination, it's just really devastating. And it has empowered mana generation off of first turn, which most quick teams run. And that also gives a bless to your first ally, so you don't even need to worry about Entangle and stuff like that. And Quillin gives you even more blesses, so you don't even need to worry about any stats effects then. Yeah, Lust is pretty annoying. It's definitely not overpowered at all, but if you don't stun it, it can... Double Lust is probably one of the most annoying things in this game. All you really have to do is stun it with anything, though. You can do it with something as cheap as Arcane Golem if you didn't have any options. Or later in the game, use something like Obsidious extra turn. And then you never need to deal with it. Lust teams, once you get them stunned, you basically auto-win against a Lust team. It's just you have to go out of your way to go get a stun, otherwise it's a little bit annoying sometimes. But it can definitely be hard countered very easily. Oh yeah, this game does have a lot of grind. The grind for this game could theoretically go on forever, depending on what your goal is of it. Oh no, I absolutely love grinding games. One of my favorite genre. If any game can do fun versions of grind, where it actually feels rewarding and everything. As far as games I feel like that have done it the best overall that I've ever played is probably RuneScape / old school RuneScape and Gems of War have implemented grinding like that pretty well. I've also been doing it slightly with Fire Emblem lately. It's not really a game that does it as well, but it still does it decently. Bug update. Where is the bug? The bug is nowhere's in sight. It's hiding somewheres. But yeah, the bug ran away. That's fine. Yep, the bug left us. We are alone. They probably found some kind of spider web in a corner somewheres. Actually, I don't even think I have any spider web corners. Mainly because I remove all the spiders from the house. Or kill them. I try to remove them, but like the jumping ones you kind of have to kill. Because I don't want them jumping on me. Absolutely hate those jumping ones. Those ones that... they're really cute, though. Like, if you can look at them up close and if they don't move. Because they move up like their little if they're 8 legs. And they kind of like move it side to side. It's really adorable. But they're really annoying. Because they just like jump on you. Bug update. I'm still not sure why society hasn't like separated itself from insects and other animals yet. Because we basically coexist. Even not exactly, but you know, they're like so prevalent around. It'd be relatively easy if you were to have like areas where there'd just be absolutely no insects whatsoever. But for whatever reason, we don't have that. Of course, you need some of them for soil and stuff like that, but a good majority of stuff can just be done manually these days. Especially a lot of like modern irrigation systems for crops and stuff. You can completely isolate them from any insects so you don't end up needing pesticides, so that's healthier for the plants and healthier for us when we eat this stuff. And I don't know, it just seems so much more convenient just doing it all manually. I forget what it's called. There's a special name for that, but there's like a really proper way where you can like separate it, have it so it uses very minimal exact amount of water, and then you don't even need to worry about pesticides because you just separate it from any kind of insects or other animals that could end up hindering them. It's not a greenhouse. It's there's a really specific name for it. It's actually relatively modern, I believe, in the last several years. I forget what it's called though off the top of my head. And eventually all crops should probably be done in that fashion, just because it's a lot more water efficient. And of course the lack of pesticides is a good plus. Yep, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Hydroponics. That sounds correct. I'm pretty sure that's what I was referring to. I forget exactly what it's called, but that sounds probably correct. Yes, insects do various roles for the environment. But for the most part, if you had no animals or no insects within a certain environment, most of the other things that they do can just be done with technology. But yes, if you have a ecosystem that has both, you kind of need one to sustain the other. But if you had one that just had humans, you wouldn't need them either. We'll do that one. But bugs give you the heebie-jeebies. I don't mind bugs too much. It just depends what kind of bug we're talking about. Like, obviously, mosquitoes absolutely despise being around. And flies are a bit annoying and stuff like that, but they're bearable. I guess the main two most annoying ones are probably mosquitoes and... oh, what's the other one? What was I just thinking of? It's actually not spiders I was going to mention. Those spiders are pretty annoying too. But, yeah, that was not the one I was referring to. Wow, I actually completely forgot what it was now. I'll remember it later. But yeah, it wasn't spiders. Those spiders are slightly. The only real big issue with spiders is like the larger ones, or the more venomous ones, like black widows and stuff like that. I do live in an area that does have black widows. Haven't really been seeing any though lately, but yeah, they're really dangerous, or at least the female ones are. And what's even worse about them too is you can't even kill them. You have to remove them, because if you kill them, you could end up having like a few dozen of them like popping out, rolling all over the place. You don't want that. But you always have to make sure not to kill them and just remove them. Which is even more annoying, because then you have to remove a very venomous spider by not killing it. Which makes it even harder, because you actually have to capture it properly. Yeah, we're like Godzilla to them, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh yeah, you guys have deer flies? I've heard of horse flies. I guess deer flies are similar? I know horse flies are super annoying. They have a really vicious bite. I know when I used to go crabbing and fishing, there used to be a lot of horse flies. Wait, are horse flies and deer flies the same thing, or are they different? They sound like they would seem similar. I always heard them called horse flies, but they might be something different. Yeah, those things are super, super annoying. They're not your traditional fly. They are like 20 times more annoying than your traditional fly. They're like a combination of a large fly combined with a mosquito, except without the transmitted disease aspect of the mosquito. Oh, deers are worse? Oh no. There's such a thing worse than a horsefly? That's scary. I've never seen deer flies, I don't think. But I have several times seen horseflies. Actually, several dozen times. None near where I currently live. They seem to be more towards swamp-like areas, for the most part. Not sure what their natural habitat is, but that's the only place I've ever seen them. Oh, they do draw blood. Yeah, I don't think that horseflies do. They, like, try to. I don't think they can pierce human skin, though. It just hurts a lot. Mosquitoes can, though. And apparently, I guess deer flies can. I don't know. Horseflies might be able to, too. I'm actually not 100% sure on that. They're even bigger? Oh, wow. I've never heard of them, personally. I need to look into them. Glad I've never seen one before. Are they to, like, a certain area of the world or something? Because I've never heard of them in the United States. They might exist here. I just never been in any area that had them. Also, 3 more levels. Well, technically 4. But 3 more that we're doing right now. We just hit level 66 a few battles ago. Oops, that's not the right one. Alright, we're almost there. And then we could finally use that extra blue. So we can actually make this hero class work. Of course, it could function without it. But the main reason I'm doing this before I do any content on it is I've never used the +3 color of a troop before. And in order to test it properly, I do want to have it as an option. While it's probably very similar to +2, I still want to specifically test +3 before we cover it at all. Just because it is technically different, and it might have some kind of consistent method for something. Actually, what is the mana thing for Surge on +3? Wow, you can actually do a 18 mana cost troop in 2 turns if you double Surge. That's interesting. That's something we weren't able to do before. Because before it would only go up to 16. There has to be something for that. What's a really good 18 mana cost blue troop? I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I can't think of one that specifically is 18. That's relevant. There probably is. I'm gonna look into that later. Because we've never had that possibility before. 14 and 16 we've been able to do pretty easily in the past, but never really 18 in 2 turns. You notice on the PvP leaderboard and even in your guild, not many players wear the Dwarven armor, even cosmetically, but I think it's beautiful. Yeah, it's kind of funny. The Dwarven armor looks the tankiest of all the armors, I would say. Even though it's one of the cheapest armors, since it only costs 50 gems, it pretty much looks the tankiest. If you like compare the design to every single armor, Dwarven armor does look the tankiest. But yeah, I don't know. I guess people just don't like the design. I kind of like the design. I just normally use Dragon armor, Definite armor, or Assassin armor. Are generally my 3 go-to armors if I was to use one. I don't really use much of the others. Even though we own all of them, of course. Because why not? Obviously, there's no real point in owning all of them. You only really need Dragon armor, Celestial armor if you're playing free-to-play. Or if you're not playing free-to-play, just Definite armor is literally the only armor you need. Every other one is just for cosmetic purposes at that point. And that might be one of the other reasons why you see less Dwarven armors. Because most people would only get it if they're buying it for cosmetic purposes. Also, the Dwarven hero class is not free. So, to synergize Dwarven armor with the Dwarven hero class, you have to pay like 10 bucks. I believe that's how much the Dwarven hero class thingy is. Oh, yeah. The blue Doom weapon converting into red. That would work. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly 18. The one that converts all things to Doom Skulls, all red to Doom Skull. It's like a little mini Shegra, 2-turn mini Shegra. The high AoE on it. The only problem with that is that given that's one color, we're going to need another blue. Whatever team we do needs to have at least 2 blues on it. Even if we're not planning on doing it for Blue Guild War. Any team that's going to be using this thing with +3 needs 2 blues on the team. Though we could always use our other blue as our Storm Blue, because we're going to need a blue Storm for sure. In almost every composition that uses this, just because of how much it needs blue. And Blue Storm would, of course, increase the amount of blues. That's we're getting a lot of gnomes all of a sudden. Keep in mind, it is not a vault event right now. But that doesn't mean gnomes don't exist. It just means we're getting a lower rate of them, despite the fact that we just got like 3 within several battles. Next vault event's not till Friday the 13th. Such a funny day for it to be on. Coincidentally. I know, stream just died. Come back, stream. Come back. It's back. Okay, there we go. Went down for like 5 seconds. You're too busy to take advantage of the last gnome event, but on the Monday after, the first pet gnome you saw gave you a vault key. Oh wow, very lucky. Very, very lucky. Especially since on him you still get the drop of both. If you get a vault key drop off a pet gnome, you get the normal drop and the vault key drop. They stack on top of each other. A pet gnome is the only gnome in the entire game where if you get a vault key, it'll actually still drop the normal drop that it was supposed to do. Every other gnome, it'll get rid of the drop and just give you a vault key instead. But pet gnome will actually still give you the initial intended loot, which is, of course, is 1 pet rescue if it's not already active, and 1 white pet food, or 2 white pet food if there already is a pet event active. Oh, what I was referring to is, yeah, there's a $10 thing in the store where you could buy like a dwarven class. It's the cosmetic item that makes your hero look like a dwarf. That's what I was referring to, using that with the dwarven armor. And it's one of the reasons why dwarven armor probably isn't used as much, because the class related to it is paywalled, and then most people don't bother buying it because $10 for that is not worth it, and very few people have it. Most people just go for the Lapina instead, rather than going for the dwarf. I'm pretty sure the Lapina set has sold like 20 times better than the dwarf set. Yeah, Lapina was worth it. I think some people would consider the Lapina one to be worth it. I don't think most people would consider the dwarf one to be worth it, though. I have both of them. I don't really use either that much, though. I normally just stick with the Rashka one, which of course is one of the free ones. And even one of my favorite armors for it is also the free one. That doesn't even cost any gems. That one green one that you start off with. The assassin archer looking one. You just need to get the $250 pets, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to bother getting them. They would have to go on sale for a really, 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 really big discount for me to consider it. I'm pretty sure most people don't consider them underneath the category of full completion. But just for the sake of having them, I might get them eventually. I'm definitely not paying full price for them, though. Who knows? Maybe one of them is required for a kingdom upgrade. Haha. Because you actually get the pet automatically to level 20. And they might actually eventually be needed for a kingdom upgrade. I'm actually double check. What are the... Oh, I can't check. Because I don't believe there's any way to check within the game itself. Though, I know for sure that the puppy is from Adana. I don't know where the android is from, though. What kingdom it's associated to. Let me go double check real quick, actually. Yeah, I like more cosmetic options for sure. I just prefer more reasonably priced cosmetic options. And normally I don't bother going for cosmetics in various games. It's because I find it to be a waste, personally. I'd rather just stick with defaults or whatever they give you. I still go for them occasionally, but I'm not, like, I don't know. I don't normally care about them too much, more often than not. And I definitely prefer grinding out for them rather than actually paying for them, normally. But of course, some of them are only buy only. Feels more rewarding when you finally get it that way. Also, is this thing ever going to load? I might just restart the game at this point. It's going to take forever. Reload time. Let me just X this out. Let me go reload Steam. Oh, oi. The almighty clicker controller. It feels like, you know what this actually feels like in the hand? It feels like one of those presentation PowerPoint things that you used and you like click it, like in the high school or college. That is exactly what this feels like. I didn't even realize that till right now, but that is exactly what it feels like, especially since I'm only using one button. It feels like that thing that has, like the 2-button thing where you basically just use it to go through PowerPoints. I think some of you might know what I'm talking about. If any of you went to school within like the last like 5 years, you probably know what I'm talking about. 5-10 years. But yeah, it's like a little clicker thing they use for PowerPoints and presentations and various similar things. But anyways, where was I? I was looking for, what did I come out here for? I came out here for a really specific reason, and now I already forgot. Let's see. Wait, hold up. What was I doing here? Oh yeah, I was gonna go check how many pets Donna has. Let's see. Yeah, you actually, if Adana ever gets close to 17 stars, it, at this current moment in time, would require you to own the Steam pet in order to have 17 stars. Though I don't believe Adana is even remotely close, and it's probably going to have a faction before then. Yeah, it's not even remotely close. It's at 8 stars right now. And that's with a class. Or 9 stars, I mean. But at 17 stars, at least at this current moment in time, it would require the Steam pet. I don't know where the Android pet is from, though. Man, anyways. Let's go back to the grind. Also, did we finally get 450 base? I think we finally did. How's our purple doing? Yeah, we did. Okay, let's go find a new faction. We hit base 450. Now to work to base 500, and I guess we'll go do Zasian. And spend time here grinding it out for the rest of the stream. Hello, September Black. Welcome. Hey, look at that. Gnome immediately. This kingdom does have a lot of fake gnomes. However, that one is definitely real. Oh, don't let me sleep. Come on, Volky. You know you want to. Ah, come on. Give us one Vault Key while it's not a Vault event. I have not gotten a Vault Key in a non-Vault event for almost forever. It's pretty much been over a year now, hasn't it? Since we've gotten a Vault Key from a non-Vault event. How much gold does it take to get a horde from 0 to 200? That depends on what treasure you use. But generally, it takes about 3 to 5 million. It could take less, it could take more. Again, it's really dependent on the treasure type that you use and how much you have of each. But it normally ranges from about 3 to 5 million. Give or take another million. He didn't die. That will though. Yep, no problem. If anyone wants to have other questions, let me know. Oh, you got a Volkey while you were doing adventure board. Nice. From a random gnome there. Really lucky. Oh, they're both from Madonna. Interesting. Well, maybe on the next Steam sale I might pick it up then. But it's going to be a while before we would actually specifically need it, though. We're almost guaranteed going to have an Adana faction prior to it ever being 17 star. Because with how events are currently going, it is around 1.5 years before it reaches 17 star at its current rate. So it still has a ways to go. And if they add a faction, which would speed up it reaching 17 star, it would already have a pet, so we wouldn't need a second one at that point. We could just do the pure faction for it. Oops, I thought that was a real gnome for a second. That's the only really annoying thing about this faction. It has a lot, or this kingdom, I mean. It has a lot of fake gnomes. Oh, so should almost be at that next level. Hey, Skatey helping us with those blues. Oh, never mind. She doesn't have Storm set. Never mind. I'm not sure if I would use Skatey as the blue option. I'd probably sooner use Jar of Eyes. What level class are you passing out a code? Oh, yeah. I guess we'll hand one out at level 67. Next level. Yeah, we'll hand one out next level, whenever that is. Should be pretty close to it. And then we'll keep going until we reach around 68, 69 and finish the rest of the night. That is the game plan. I believe we're about 10 kills away from it, most likely. Or by 10 kills, I mean 10 battles. Come on, stop clicking on the thing. There we go. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out for Guild Wars next week. Also, the other big thing that it won't be immediately usable for, but this hero class is probably going to be the best hero class in the game for the new Mythic. Potentially. That and Titan, because I believe it's Elemental, the new Mythic. But, yeah, this will still be pretty high up there as far as how useful it is for the next Mythic that's coming out. Because it's basically a blue version of Infernus. So using Jar of Eyes with the new Mythic would probably be pretty good. I forget what colors the new Mythic is other than the fact it uses blue. But if it doesn't have green mana conflict, that would actually be insanely good. Just let me go double check. Does the next Mythic use green? I hope it doesn't, because Jar of Eyes into new Mythic is actually going to be really solid if so. New Mythic. No, it does use green. Ooh. It's blue, green, yellow. Is the coloration of next Mythic. Because you have to use a storm with it. It doesn't come with its own storm like the other Infernus-like troops. But its ability is way better than the other Infernus-like troops. It does more explosion and it does more damage. Or normally it does more explosion, not necessarily. If they deny your blue, it'll do less explosion. But assuming they don't deny your blue, it'll do more explosion than what a Infernus or something would. Yeah, there's a good chance that next Mythic will be like S tier decent. Like it's going to be probably one of the top 10 in the game. Has a lot of potential. It's going to be annoying though. Submerge is going to be even more spammed than ever starting next patch. Because he does submerge all allies every extra turn. The new Mythic. It's kind of funny. This time last year we ended up getting a blue related Mythic too. Megavore we ended up getting at the time. Oh, level 67. Well, code time. I did say at 67, and that is 67. Go hand out a code. And we'll have another one later tonight when we go and get level 70. Or finish the 70 grind. But let me go hand out a code. Code! Where to go? Edit. Mark it. Good to go. And mark it right over there. If I could click, there we go. Copy, copy. Paste, paste. Put it right in the code section, right over here. And we're good to go. Paste all. Oops, I added the extra space. Don't do that. Oh wait, this code has already been redeemed. Oh, did I not mark it last night? Apparently not. Okay, let's mark it. Let's try this again. Next code. That one's already been used. Oh wait, hold up. Wait, what? Oh, never mind. That's correct. Okay. And how about this one? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I just accidentally forgot to mark the last night code. And there you guys go. There is the redeem code. Use it on gemsofwar.com underneath the game code section. Your invite code can be found underneath your settings menu. Redeem code's right over in chat. Click the link to get there. And give same reward as always: 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. And it only works on PC mobile version. It does not work on consoles. There you guys go. And no problem, everyone. But I'll probably stream right now just until we get one more level. Then I'll probably grab lunch, head for a walk, now that it's starting to clear up the weather some. And go from there. But I'll probably go until we just get one more level for now. So if anyone still has any other questions, let me know. That level shouldn't take too long. Probably like another 20 minutes or so. So we just gained one. It's obviously going to take a little while until we get that next one, but not that long. And then we can just finish the rest tonight off of dailies and a little bit of grind. And some of it I might even do in between the streams. Just so we don't have to do as much tonight. That's not going to take long at all. And then we can finally start using this thing viably with its extra +3 blue total. And that does stack. The +2 blue does stack with the +1. Same as how Priest +1 stacked with this other +1. This will do the exact same thing. Yep, no problem for the code, everyone. Is this team your new favorite trait farming team? Well, I'll use it for a quick explore. And yeah, currently I've been using as basically, I guess, my favorite. I do prefer Sunbird Firebomb in many instances. But yeah, I've just been using this recently for change of pace. I'll probably switch back to Firebomb or Wayne eventually. It really just depends on the context of the battle. Sunbird's better if we know for sure there's going to be like a spell reduction troop or something like that. If we know there's going to be 50% spell reduction, we're better off using Sunbird rather than Rowan. Because the biggest liability Rowan has is if it takes any damage, it reduces its amount of damage substantially. And if the battle is going beyond one cast, then it's a big liability towards Rowan, whereas it's not a liability towards Sunbird Firebomb. The other benefit of Sunbird Firebomb is you have a higher chance of extra turning on turn 1. Even though you initially gain less mana, the chance that you extra turn off your Empower Troop is a lot higher because of the Firestorm, whereas this has no Storm. This would have a Storm if you were doing a hero class that needed it. However, this hero class, if I'm not mistaken, has no Storm attached to it at all. Let me double check. Wait, does this thing have a blue storm? I'm pretty sure it doesn't. This has a blue storm. I should be using it. Has it had a blue storm this entire time and I haven't been using it? No, it does not have blue storm. I kind of think Water Tree would have something like that. It doesn't, though. Yeah, we don't have any storm. We don't even have Storm Tree over here, so we can't even get like a random storm or something. There is literally 0 storms on this hero class, which is why we don't have one set. That is unfortunate. But that's the biggest issue with this team is some hero classes that you level do lack a storm, whereas the Sunbird variant will always have a storm, because Sunbird will give you storm, and the Firebomb will also give you storm due to Sunbird being on the team, which increases the chance that you'll extra turn off of casting Firebomb. Even though it doesn't get full mana as consistently, the extra turn chance is way higher on that team than on this one. Because you'll see almost every single time we cast that, we almost never get an extra turn. Whereas Firebomb does that to a decent degree. No problem for the code. You've been doing level 90 Warrens with, oh, that's a real gnome. With Plague Lord and what is BL again? I forget what you're using to initialize that. Apothecary and Iron Gut. Possessed King. Let's see, Possessed King, and it is good, but you don't need to keep them all alive in daily delves because your hero tends to die. What is BL again? I'm trying to figure out what that team is. Oh, no, I thought that was Black Manacle for a second. What is BL? I'm trying to think of what that team is. It's not Mountain Crusher, it's not Black Manacle. Trying to think of like what brown weapon you could have there. Oh, Bronze Lock Pistol. Wait, wouldn't that be BP? But generally you don't run Bronze Lock Pistol unless you're using Cedric with it. Just because it does a lot less destroy. The only exception to that is if you're running a hero class that does triple damage on burning, in which case it could be okay. But in most other situations, you generally want to have Cedric on your team if you're running Bronze Lock Pistol. One of the better teams for it is Bronze Lock Pistol, Ward Breaker, any mana generator like Leprechaun or something, followed by Cedric. And that ends up gold farming, and then you have Bronze Lock Pistol into Ward Breaker for all your damage. It's one of the few things that Ward Breaker is actually the optimal slot for. Actually, I believe it's the only extremely meta team where Ward Breaker is the best option. Not a okay option, but the absolute best option for something. If I'm not mistaken, there is no meta team, other than maybe Ward Breaker plus Ferris Raw related teams, where he's the absolute best option for anything, other than the Bronze Lock version of him. It also helps with his bad mana generation, because a single Bronze Lock will almost always fill him up, because of how much mana accumulation that is. Yeah, generally for daily delves, it doesn't actually matter if you sacrifice out troops. As long as your team is winning at a decent win rate, like under 9 minutes per delve, or under 10 minutes if you're just, you know, taking your time with it. As long as you're winning like under 10 minutes per delve, doesn't really matter too much, like what you end up using. It's one of the reasons why I normally use gold-related things for it, like skeleton key teams and stuff. As long as you're winning it at a okay rate and not completely losing out the delve, it's perfectly fine. Like, even if you end up losing a troop, I lose a troop often when using key team, but it doesn't normally matter. It might affect the speed a little bit occasionally, but you don't need to actually specifically do deathless every single time. Well, of course, that theoretically could help out speed-wise to go deathless, because obviously if you have 4 troops compared to not having 4 troops, it works out better. But normally it doesn't really matter, because it doesn't have any kind of a point effect. It has no effect on your loot. As long as it's not hindering your speed by more than a minute or so, it's normally not that big a deal to keep everything alive when doing daily delves. I don't even use 1, let alone 2. 1 what? I'm not sure what you're referring to with that. Would you ever use 2 Vashdagons? Oh yeah, I don't even use 1, let alone 2. That's correct. Did they ever finally give him his buff? I don't think they're doing that until next patch. I don't think they ever gave him his buff to make him not useless. They really need to make him more like Black Beast, but they still haven't yet, I don't believe. You just realized you gotta change the hero class to Corsair at some point. It gets 5 gold per turn, so that kind of works. Oh yeah, I'm using Corsair right now. Generally, whenever you're doing quick explore, as well as just some battles in general where you don't need all the perks on your hero, you can use the resource-related perks. There's 5 gold per turn, there's 1 soul per turn, there's 10% extra XP per battle, and there's 1 extra glory per PvP battle. You have all those extra resources that you could theoretically be getting from your hero class. You can only ever get 1, because I believe they all fall on the exact same line. But, yeah, every hero class, or almost every hero class, has 1 of those that you can end up using. But currently, we're using a hero class that has plus 5 gold every turn. Obviously, that does barely any extra gold. But, hey, that's an extra, like, 20, 30 gold per battle. It comes out to, because it gets multiplied. So even if it only takes 2 turns to win, that's still, like, 20, 30-something gold. Somewhere around there. It adds up. Like that 27 that we got right there is pretty much just from the 5 that's sticking up from there, combined with our other bonuses. Obviously, it's not a lot, but it's better than getting nothing. And it adds up over time, given that we're winning once every like 15 seconds. 30 gold might not seem like that much, but if you're winning like 4 times a minute, that comes out to 120 gold per minute, which comes out to math. Which comes out to what is that, 6,000 something? It's 6,000 what am I saying, 7,200. Comes out to 7,200 extra gold per hour, which also doesn't sound like a lot, but we're doing literally nothing other than setting a trait to get basically 7,200 extra gold per hour approximately, give or take a little bit. Yeah, let's just say 7,000. But still, that's not bad. And all we did was just simply to put the plus 5 gold trait instead of something else, and we get about 7,000 free gold automatically from it. Which isn't a lot, that's like 1 minute worth of gold, pretty much. But still, it adds up. Any good assassin teams, you pretty much just run it assassin first slot into skull spam. There's no wrong answer, just any skull spam team. It depends which way you want to do. You could do Divinish Balaquilin, you could do a more controlled Keeper of Soul related one with Apothecary and stuff. You could end up doing, what's the other one I was thinking of? You could do the 2 empowered skull spams that do it on first turn, and similar things like that. But yeah, it's ran exclusively in skull spam teams. You would never run in anything that isn't skull spam. You can also run in Doom Skull spam, though it's generally ran in non-Doom Skull related spam, because the main premise is to just try trigger spamming the Assassinate, and Doom Skulls do not have a higher chance of doing it. And generally, as far as gem spawns are concerned, normal skulls spawn at a higher rate than the Doom Skull related ones, as well as abilities that end up doing them. So it's generally better for Assassin to run non-Doom Skull related ones. But yeah, basically any non-Doom Skull related skull spam team, though you can run Doom Skull related one if you really want to with it too. Really, just any skull spam team is all you run. Which one you do is completely based on which one you want to run or what you have. Assassin's generally not that worth it these days because Web Spinner tends to be better. However, Assassin is standpoint, but it's pretty high compared to just normal troops. Because hero stats in general are just high relative to everything else. Especially if you're over level 1000, because all the extra stats that you got from leveling. On top of all the class bonuses and everything. See what level we at. 67. How much more XP we need? There we go. 18 more. Let's go get it real quick. Try to get it. And then we'll probably wrap up for now. Which I'm probably going to walk to the store as soon as we finish up. Talking about drinks earlier made me want to go get drinks, because I only have water in the house right now. Quite literally just water. And while I don't mind water and do drink a lot of water, it gets tiring after a while, having literally nothing but water. Did you decide what you're going to buy yourself for the upcoming birthday? I have no clue what I'm going to buy myself for my birthday. Not the slightest clue. There's not even any good Nintendo Switch games coming out at that time either, I don't believe. I believe Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is coming out, which it's an okay game. I've played past iterations of it. It's a game that you kind of play for like a couple dozen hours, maybe play it with like for some friends, but it doesn't have like an excessively high amount of replay value. At least the past ones didn't. Though they did just do an ad for it where it has some kind of cool retro theme. But no, it's not really a kind of game I'd get like really invested into. Not like Fire Emblem or something like that. What weapon would you use with the Skull Spam team on Assassin? Generally something that will not block mana. You can also use one of the Doom related weapons. For example, if you're missing yellow on your team, use the yellow Doom weapon. Or something like that. Whatever you use, you should make sure it's not blocking anything, is the most important thing. It doesn't matter if you're using a red weapon, just don't block anything. Your team should be Assassin, Mana Generator, Skull Spam. Or Assassin, Skull Spam, Mana Generator, Skull Spam. One of those orders is how you order the team. And Assassin's weapon should be either one of the Doom weapons that doesn't block anything, or literally anything that doesn't block anything. One of those two options. But yeah, the Doom weapons are actually pretty decent with Assassin. Just because it synergizes into the kind of teams it would normally be built into. Obviously, Doom Skull isn't necessarily needed, the extra damage off of it, but any kind of Skull Spam works. And that's the only really good Skull Spam weapons for all the Doom weapons. Yeah, I really want a Gems of War mug. Hope they have some good designs. If I ever was to get my own merch, it would definitely be mugs. You can never have enough mugs. No, I'm not like excessive with mugs, but I don't know. It's a nice kind of cup to have. That and shirts. Shirts can never go wrong with. Everyone needs shirts. Also, my entire style is literally just plain shirts as well. Sometimes with designs on them, but I don't really do anything like fancy. I just wear shirts. Really basic shirts. It's like my entire wardrobe, just shirts. Most of which are plain solid colored ones. Some have designs, but most are just really basic. Oh, you'll buy a Tacet mug. I'm not sure what I would do for it. Other than a hello everyone mug. With a hello wrapping all the way around. That'd be funny. Are there going to be more Doom weapons? Yes. After the unique set, which will end, I believe, next November event, they are going to be adding new ones. What exactly they'll do for it, we do not know. But yes, they are going to be adding more Doom weapons to the game. The 12 that we currently have will not cycle back around, almost guarantee. I don't think they've 100% confirmed that, but I believe they did make some mention of that. That they're going to add a new 12 instead of repeating the ones that already exist. A 10 XL for the hello mug. I don't have any really gigantic cups. Oh no, gigantic cups I don't really like. That's why I ended up getting stuff like this. I prefer like thin vertical things more so. Like mug shape still works well as well, but I'd much prefer like vertical, like thinner ones. Because it makes it seem like you're still drinking a lot more while drinking a smaller amount. Because it moves downwards quicker. So I kind of like that format of drinking. Just because it makes you drink less while still feeling like you drank more. So if you're drinking something that you really shouldn't be, like something sugary or something, it works out better. But anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading out for now. I'll be back in, what time is it right now? We'll be back in around 6.5 hours for tonight's stream. And we will finish getting Corsair to level 70. And then cover a video on it tomorrow, going over Blue Guild War stuff for it and just teams in general. And then next week, we'll actually be able to use it for that. So if anyone has any other questions, let me know right now. Let's see. Let's see, just have it say, hello, everyone, I am Tacet. And have it start really big, get smaller and fade as it wraps around. Please, Tacet, you have to sell your own merch. We will eventually. It just, you need to get like because of the initial cost with stuff like that, you need to get like at least several dozen people that would be interested in it before you ever go and actually release products like that. Otherwise, you will quite literally just lose money. Also, I've never done anything like that, so I need to look into exactly how to do it. I know like generally how it kind of goes, and I believe there's even some local places I could do it from if I need to. I know there's a local shirt place. I'm not sure about a mug place. But I am actually aware of one that it's not in walking distance. It used to be where I used to live. I actually interned there a couple times. He might even still know me. Probably not. It was several years ago back in high school. But yeah, I know of a local shirt place, and I could just ship them out if I really had to. That'd probably be the easiest way of doing it if I really was to do something like that. But not sure about mugs. But if I was to do it, I'd probably just ship it out myself. Most likely. I'm not sure if I would need to get at least like several dozen people if I was to do it through some kind of company. But again, I'll look into that into the future. But anyways, guys, I'll catch all of you later. Thanks for stopping by and hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye, everyone.